All right, so this episode fairly straightforward. There are 3 plot points in this instead of the normal 2. But basically, plot point 1 or whatever, 1 and 2 kind of intertwine basically throughout the whole story. But plot point 3, we'll start out with that, which essentially kind of starts before the episode, before the credits. Is essentially when that is we get the 3 evil rangers who again they learn about the bestials, and then they go to this the pocket dimension where the Don Red's dad is, and we basically find out that he is the guardian that basically keeps the worlds separate. He locked up the bestials, which he didn't do a good job because there's two in this episode that we see that they don't really do a lot, but there's 2 in this episode that are free, that he thinks are all locked up, but they're not. And we find out right there and then, like, hey, watch out for them. They will do a certain type of origami. It is a cat, a swan, not a swan, a crane, and a penguin. A penguin. That's I couldn't remember the third one. We see the oh my god, not the swan. I keep saying that, but we see the crane twice, 2 different times in this episode. But that's basically the third plot point. It's just them going and investigating, asking this guy who, the evil Blue Ranger, knows who, Don Red's dad is. I guess they have a history or whatever. So we're probably going to find out more of that down the road. Then the main plot points, which I guess I should talk about the secondary plot point because that's, again, it intertwines with like 3/4 of the episode. But the first half here is, Don Red delivers a package to a guy who wants to be a ninja. And it's this like scythe thing with a chain connected to it. And, obviously Don Red does this whole like, we have a connection thing. He says, his whole his whole speech. And the guy's like, okay, well, come be a ninja with me. And so he says, the first thing is I want to test you. And he throws this, again, it's like scythe thing with a chain on it. I don't know what it's called. I might, put the name up if I can find it. Throws it at him. Don Red just kind of steps aside, lets it hit the ground, steps on it with his, I think it was his right foot he stepped on it. Left foot kind of just, pretend this is his foot, just kind of sweeps the chain towards him, and it pulls the scythe part out of the ninja's hand. And Don Red says, just stop playing ninja. There's more to it than, just playing ninja. And basically just leaves, and that's when, the monster is created. But the main plot point here, which again, after the monster is created, it intertwines here with the main plot point. But starting out, the main plot point, so Don Black he's at a cooking job, breaks a dish, thinking about Natsumi, basically gets sent home. On his way home, we find out that I don't think he's the chief. I'm going to say chief, a chief police officer. It might not be a chief. He might not be. Basically, he's an higher up in the standings for, cops. And he was one of the 41 people that went missing with the bus. Which, again, if you don't know about the bus, I talked about it in the last episode. You can even go watch, I believe it's episode 10. Or I guess it was 9 into 10. So you got to basically watch 9, 10 to understand the bus incident. But basically, he disappeared, came back, and it's this weird thing where he basically doesn't do his job, and he's just sitting there making origami this whole time. Until they get a call about Don Black, who, again, is a fugitive. If you don't know why he's a fugitive, they kind of explain it. This is, episode 4 or 5 or whatever. But, they're trying to find him, capture him, bring him down to the station. They get a tip about where he is. They show up right as he's leaving his job, the whole classic. It's just, they're there as you leave, So they start chasing him. And the chief guy goes into the shop that he came out of. It was a restaurant. Again, he was cooking food. Just starts scarfing down all these people's plates of food. Runs out of the restaurant. And then he has like super speed. He has super jump suddenly. and he's just following Don Black around, chasing him. Don Red uses his sunglasses to get away. They go into this warehouse. The chief is there, grabs him by the neck, hoists him up, puts an origami crane in his mouth and sit in his throat, basically, which causes him to get sick, and basically just kind of disappears. So again, I assume there's a bestial. I guess it was never confirmed, but I'm assuming that's the first one we see. Again, we'll talk about the second one here at the end. But that's what causes the plots to then intertwine here. So Don Black basically kind of goes to Don Pink's house, says, hey, I don't know where else to go, so I came to you. Don Pink brings him inside. They lay him down because he's sick, obviously. And it starts this whole adventure with Don Pink, again, doesn't know who Don Yellow is. Don Yellow doesn't know who Don Pink is. But basically, he calls her up and says, hey, I need your help. Thanks for coming. Blah, blah, blah. Get that whole, my friend's sick speech. And I don't know what to do. And again, they don't know that they're Don brothers. And then they start trying to figure out what to do. Don Blue comes bursting through the door and says, Momotaro sent me to come help. And then we have shenanigans with all three of them who again, Don Yellow and Don Blue know that they're Don brothers. They don't know that Don Pink is a Don brother. Don Pink doesn't know that they're a Don brother. Or Don brothers. And we get this whole shenanigans things where Don Blue is like, hey, you should go to the hospital, pretend you have this, what his sickness is, ask for medicine. Before they can do that, Don Blue says something smart. I forget what he says. He says something smart. And Don Yellow's like, hey, I wish you were just as smart on the battlefield as you are right now. And so Don Blue pulls her aside and says, hey, we can't be revealing our secret identities to these people, to random people. Again, they don't know that they're all Don brothers. Just then, they're in different rooms, get teleported to the battlefield with Don Red fighting the ninja guy, who is a ninja monster now. They're fighting. He says, hey, go take care of Don Black. I got this. He's after me. And so they're like, okay, bye. And Don Pink, he stubs his toe. There's ground spikes that get thrown at him when they teleport there. So, and Don Pink hurts his foot. They get back and they realize Don Pink's not there anymore. That's what should have tipped them off right there. It's just they're so dense. But then it's like, okay, well, he went to the doctors, went to get his foot fixed because he stepped on a ground spike. I don't know how it didn't go through because they were like that long. So I don't know how you went to at least seen blood. But again, it's a kid's show. But he should have like a hole in his foot right now. But he doesn't. Comes back with laxative. So the medicine he was supposed to get for Don Black, he gets for himself instead. Don Black, they give him the medicine not knowing until after that it's laxative because, Don Pink can't say it fast enough. And Don Black wakes up, runs right to the bathroom, and then they get, teleported to the battlefield again, and they're like, okay, we're going to go back. We're going to make him some medicine food. I forget what I'll put the name up. Some sort of food medicine. They come back. Don Pink. I guess I missed a little part here, so they all get teleported again. Don Pink bumps into Don Yellow, and Don Blue just chucks Don Pink at all these minions, and he goes flying like 100 yards or whatever. You see him basically go off screen, and they come back. And he's just like his arms are like mangled all over the floor. His feet are twisted, everywhere. And he's like passed out. And they're like, what happened to him? First his foot, and now he's like a mangled mess on the ground. Like, where has he been? I don't know how they didn't put the pieces together or the puzzle together right then and there either. But then they decide, okay, that didn't work. So they decide to go very old-fashioned and just have Don Pink put on this bucket of salt on his head, and then he prays to the gods to basically fix, to make Don Black better. And so again, they're going old school medicine here. And then he's deep in his concentration, praying. Eyes are closed. He has no idea what's going on. They all get teleported back. And that's when they're like, oh my god, he has the salt on his head. That means you're... And then Don Pink looks over after about 15 seconds, like actually 15 seconds of him praying. And he realizes, I'm not in the house anymore. He looks over, he's like, oh my god, you guys are... like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So they start fighting again. And then we get to a very fun part. I can't wait for to see where this goes. But then Mio gets home, and they put up this curtain in the doorway where Don Black is. Obviously it was done way before. But she kind of goes through the curtain, sees Don Black, sick, unconscious, in the bed, and she has this like moment where she kind of switches personalities, and it's believed to be Natsumi. And again, I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty, because it potentially could be a third person, someone else. But the way they've been building this up is Natsumi and Mio are going to be the same person again. They had this whole episode, I think it was 7, I want to say, where Don Black and Don Pink think they have like the same wife. And they don't, again, Don Pink doesn't show Don Black the picture again, and we went over that in episode 7. She supposedly, again, turns into Natsumi, and she walks over, bends down next to him, reaches into his mouth and pulls out the origami, which, again, we saw at the very beginning of the episode, with the bistro put him in his mouth. And Don Black kind of wakes up, and somehow, some way, within a second like that, Natsumi's there, and then she is, we find out, a minute or two later that she's actually sitting out in the dining room area at just kind of folding origamis. But wakes up, he kind of thinks he sees her. It's like, okay, it must be a dream or whatever. Gets teleported to the battlefield, bumps into Don Pink, and and the salt on Don Pink's head spills all over everyone. But only the monster is affected. Again, he splits himself into 4 people, or into 4 ninjas, essentially 4 copies of himself, and only he's affected because they get in his eyes. And they say the reason that none of the Don brothers were affected was because the sunglasses are on their face. I love it. I'm totally okay with that. I mean, it makes sense. I'm pretty sure we've seen them transform without the glasses before. I want to say we have, but if we haven't, and it's just, and they're always there, I guess that makes sense for the plot. But if it's just this was randomly thrown in for this episode, and we have seen them transform without the glasses, okay, I don't care. So yeah, they beat up the monster. They transform into the Roboto forms, beat up the monster, and then again we go back. We see supposedly Natsumi folding origami in the dining room, and she makes another crane. So I don't know what that means. I don't know why, if she's a bistro, why would she save Don Black? I guess because of that connection they had, but I don't know. It is what it is. That's literally how the episode ends. And it leaves me wondering what are they going to do down the line. I'm interested to see what happens. But then for the preview, we get basically they all form a Megazord after they're in their Roboto forms. I guess they also kind of form a robot form together when they're not in a Megazord too. But basically, next episode is them going to be combining into one. Kind of like how the Pat Rangers just, what was that, like 4 or 5 seasons ago, kind of combined into one body, is essentially what is going to happen again with the Don brothers here, all in one body. Again, they're going to shoot up and go be a Megazord. So there's also something with an idol who always lies. So we'll find out next week But, interested to see what the combination looks like for them. But, yeah, that's essentially it. So, a lot to be interested in down the line here to see what happens with, these Bestials. Are we going to get the Evo Rangers and, our Hero Rangers team up? And they're going to be, one faction in a sense. We'll see. For now, though, like the video, share the video around, don't forget to subscribe. And, yeah, can't wait for next week. Peace.